What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick. Is that a red imposter? Cactus here. And yeah, I'm never doing that again. Seriously though, y'all need to chill. I do not sound like Rickford Cactholomew. Anyways though, it is kind of funny that somebody actually left that comment because this video in a way is inspired by the Rick Cactus piece himself, because he made a video on, the best weapons to grind for before the Witch Queen, and I'm going to be doing the same thing but a little bit different. Basically, what I mean by that is I'm not going to be going over weapons that fit the champion mods for next season. I'm actually going to be talking about weapons that are going to be harder to get come Witch Queen, and you're going to want to get them now. And most of these are in fact seasonal weapons because Bungie did leave this message in their last TWAB. I'll quickly read it. As a final note, before we move on to some exotic news, Master Rahul will also be able to decrypt Umbral engrams, so players will not have to hop between the helm and the tower to decrypt all of their engrams in their inventory. Focusing for individual seasonal weapons and armor will live on seasonal vendors in the helm moving forward, so if you want to focus a specific weapon from a given season, you'll still need to head to the helm for decryption. Now, I really wish Bungie was a bit more clear with this because it's kind of tough to tell what it means exactly. I don't know if they're saying all the future seasonal weapons will still be focused in the helm and we just can't do that at the Cryptarch, or are they saying all of the old seasonal weapons will also still be focusable in the helm and we don't have to worry about them going away. Regardless, we are 100% sure of one thing: the weapons are here for now, and until Witch Queen, we can farm them as many times as we want, and we should probably get on that now. So without further ado, let's get into the weapons. The first weapon on this list should be a surprise to absolutely nobody. This is the Sojourner's Tail, which is arguably the strongest legendary shotgun in the game right now. There are actually 3 ways to acquire this bad boy that I know of. The first one is that you can just do the overload activity from Season of the Splicer. 2, you can do the corrupted expunge missions and you have a chance at getting it. And 3 is just simply focusing it on the Season of the Splicer focusing page. Now, when it comes down to the roles you should be looking for, in terms of PvP, I would recommend something like Fluted Barrel, Assault Mag, or Accurized, and then Moving Target and Opening Shot. That is the role I've been using, and I've put thousands of kills on it, and I honestly believe it is the strongest shotgun I have ever used. And if you're wondering why I'm not mentioning more roles for PvP, basically, Moving Target Opening Shot is just by far the best. Really, the only other perk you can maybe swap Moving Target out for to make the role equally as good is Threat Detector, but even then, if you're running Fluted Barrel, you already have 80 handling, Shotgun Dexterity is only 1 energy right now, and Quick Charge actually works. So Threat Detector is just kind of unnecessary, but I suppose if you wanted to go for a more ranged barrel, you could go Threat Detector. Now, if you are interested in a PvE Sojourners for whatever reason, once again, I would recommend Fluted Barrel, Assault Mag, but then I would go Rapid Hits with Frenzy or Surrounded, or maybe even Adrenaline Junkie. I'd stay away from Dragonfly though, because you're not really trying to use a special weapon for ad clear, it's just kind of not the move. Now, moving on to the second weapon on this list, we have the Season of the Hunt SMG, the Friction Fire. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the most slept on weapons in the game. It is a 16 zoom, 600 RPM SMG, so this thing is basically like a kinetic equivalent of the Sheorua's Wrath. Now, the thing that's really good about farming this SMG is since it actually comes from Wrathborn hunts, you can focus exactly what you want on the gun, you can pick the masterwork, and you can also choose to exclude certain perks, which makes the farm quite a bit easier. There is, however, one downside to farming for this gun, and that is the fact that Bungie didn't exactly do the best job designing Wrathborn hunt loots, and sometimes you'll have to go out of your way to do Wrathborn hunts for other weapons. That way you can have the Friction Fire cycle in as a reward. It's really annoying, but it's not the most annoying thing in the world. For the PvP God role, I would highly recommend either Hammerforged Rifling or Full Bore if you're on a Peacekeeper Titan. Then I would go Accurized Rounds with Killing Wind and Rampage. I believe that is easily the best perk combination, although you could sub out Killing Wind for Subsistence because Subsistence did recently get a buff on SMGs, and if you don't like kill activated perks like Rampage, Wellspring is also a solid perk after the ability changes. For PvE, the God roll is pretty much the same, although I would highly prioritize Subsistence and Rampage. I think that is by far the strongest combination, and then maybe instead of Accurized Rounds, you go for either Appended or Tactical Mag, but either way, it's kinda up to you. Moving on to the number 3 spot, we have another Season of the Splicer weapon, the 720 Rapid Fire Auto Rifle, the CHROMA Rush. The way you can obtain this gun is the exact same as I said for the Sojourners before, but I will repeat it again in case you forgot. You can do the Overload activities, which is just the normal Season of the Splicer activity. You can focus it in the Helm, or you can do the Corrupted Expunge missions. Now, when it comes to the actual God roll of the CHROMA Rush, this thing is actually loaded with so many good perks, it's tough to pick out just one God roll, but I'm going to give you guys kind of my insight. So for the barrel options, you already have a vertical recoil direction, there's no need for arrowhead brake, so I would go for either Corkscrew, Hammer Forged, or Small Bore. For the magazine perk, I would go Accurized Rounds, and then for the actual perks, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. Every single perk, both in the left and right perk slot on the CHROMA Rush, is somewhat useful in its own right. Now, I think the best perk combination, without a doubt, is Heating Up and Rampage, because Heating Up just gives you a cracked accuracy boost just for getting a kill, which is really, really easy to do with a rapid fire auto, especially when you have Rampage. The combination of those perks is just really unmatched. But in all honesty, that is so far from the only viable roll on this gun. For example, Tunnel Vision Kill Clip is another amazing roll. I personally just don't really like Kill Clip because you gotta dip into cover, reload, then get a massive damage buff, whereas Rampage, you can keep just mowing people down. But you guys see what I mean. There's so many different combinations that really do work on this gun, and you can just kind of go crazy with it. Now, when it comes to PvE, there really isn't as many good perk choices as there is for PvP, but I would 100% go with either Subsistence Rampage or Subsistence Adrenaline Junkie. Those would probably be my 2 favorite picks. Moving on from there, at the number 4 spot, we have the Extraordinary Rendition, which is the Season of the Chosen SMG. This is a 750 RPM with a 15 zoom, so not the greatest range, but this thing is a little bit more of a PvE weapon. The 2 easiest ways to get this weapon are 1, by doing the Battlegrounds activity from Season of the Chosen, or 2, using the Season of the Chosen focusing, go figure. The PvP God roll, in my opinion, is going to be either Hammer Forged Rifling, Full Bore if you're on a Peacekeeper Titan, Accurized Rounds, either Overflow or Firmly Planted, Overflow just for that massive magazine, and Firmly Planted because it's literally aimbot as long as you are crouched, and you're going to be doing a lot of sliding, which does also count while you're using an SMG, and I think it's a really, really good perk. And then in the right perk slot, I think Rampage is the clear winner. Like I said earlier though, where this gun really shines is in PvE, and for the PvE God roll, I would recommend, for the barrel, it actually really doesn't matter in PvE, I'm going to be honest. Then I would recommend either Appended or Tactical Mag. In the left perk slot, I would 100% go for Overflow. It is going to give you an absolutely ridiculous magazine. And then in the right perk slot, I think One for All is the biggest no-brainer ever. Getting a 35% damage bonus just for hitting 3 targets, not even killing them, with an SMG that is shooting at 750 rounds per minute? I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. Coming in at the number 5 spot, we have the infamous Slide Shot. Ooh, I can't say the perks yet, but you guys know it's going to be there. We have the Ignition Code. And I really don't know how I'm just now realizing this, but this is actually our 3rd Season of the Splicer weapon of the video. Season of the Splicer was absolutely amazing, man. Holy shit. For the PvP God roll, just have Slide Shot. That's really all you need, and that's all I'm going to say. Now for the PvE God roll, I would recommend having Blinding or Spike Nades if you just want as much damage as possible. Then I would recommend Slide Shot and Vorpal Weapon, or Slide Shot and One for All. And honestly, I just gotta quickly laugh at the fact that Ignition Code literally has Field Prep, which is one of the best GL perks in the game, but it's so overshadowed by Slide Shot that who cares? But in all seriousness, if you don't have yourself a good Slide Shot Ignition Code, go out and get one immediately. Moving on to the final weapon of the video, we have the Vanguard Strike exclusive rocket launcher, the Royal Entry. Don't worry, I'm well aware that this isn't a seasonal weapon, and some of you guys actually might be confused why it's on this list, but just quickly hear me out. So it's really no secret that Royal Entry is one of the strongest legendary rockets currently in the game, but the reason I have it on this list is, do you guys remember what happened to Stars and Shadow and Xenoclast, which were other playlist activity weapons? You can't even get them anymore. You might be able to actually, but the drop rate is so abysmal. In this long-ass season, I have not gotten a single one of those two to drop. And the fear I have is that those weapons I just mentioned were from Season 12. They were the Season 12 activity weapons. Royal Entry is one of the Season 13 activity weapons. So Bungie might just pull the plug and be like, yep, you're not getting it anymore. I really hope that's not what happens, but with Bungie, I'm kind of just prepared for the worst. The two god rolls I would really recommend on this thing are Impact Casing, Auto-Loading Holster, and then Lasting Impression, or Alloy Casing, Field Prep, Lasting Impression. I think those are by far the two best rolls, but you know, you could also switch it up and maybe go Alloy, Field Prep with One for All, so you can just shoot the rocket, kill a bunch of adds, get a huge damage buff, and then go crazy on the boss. You can really kind of mix and match it a little bit. But with that being said, that is pretty much everything I have for today's video. If you guys want more videos like this in the future, I can definitely make that happen. Anyways, it's been Gravely. Peace.